Hey guys, welcome back to another travel vlog as a housewife with no husband, aka an unemployed woman who does not have a man funding her lifestyle. This is Tammy from the future. I actually took this trip toward the end of last year, and I'm gonna be doing a voiceover for this entire trip because a lot of the conversations that I was having with my friend who I visited are personal conversations that I don't really want to share, but I really want to talk more about my experience in Portland. So if you're interested in that, stick around. I decided to take this trip because Portland has been on the top of my travel list for quite some time as one of the American cities that I wanted to see. And I'm so happy that I had the opportunity because my friend Majida actually moved there a few years ago and she invited me out. She is an entrepreneur. She has started her own business and she's very, very busy with that, but she needed a little bit of a break. And so I decided to come and be some fun and kind of give her a little bit of a break from the business that she's building. Here is my first day in Portland. We hit the ground running, hun. She came and picked me up from the airport in a Lyft. I went and dropped my things at her home, and then we took the train back into town. And this first day, we explored Portland on foot. The weather was very nice, and so we decided we were just gonna walk around the city. The first place that we stopped is Powell's Books. Now, if you don't know anything about Powell's Books, it is the largest independently owned bookstore in the United States of America. And when I tell you, if you are a book girly or a book guy, this is heaven. This is heaven. This place is so overwhelming. It is so big. It is multiple stories. I can't even tell you how many books are in this place, but we had an amazing time. We walked around. I got to see all of the different sections. They had stationery, they had merch, they had all kinds of things. And then I had told Majida how much of a stationery girly I really am, and I really wanted to go to Ablation Papers, which is a really popular stationery store in Portland, and you might have seen them go viral recently on social media. And so we decided to walk there. So this was around the time that there was like a Hobonichi drop, and there was also a lot of new things from the Travelers Company, the stationery brand. And so I wanted to go there, and so we walked, and this is just us going there. I browsed around. I noticed that there were some stationery brands that I didn't even know existed, like you'll see coming up in a second. I saw Stationery by Hunter, the brand that makes rain boots. Like, who knew that they actually made stationery? I didn't know. You learn something new every day. I grabbed a couple of pieces from the Travelers Company, not shown here, and then we made our way across town because the other place that I wanted to go to while visiting here was Smith Tea Company. Now, let me give you a little bit of background about Smith Tea, or at least how I found out about them. A couple of years ago, or a few years ago, I should say, I spent my birthday at Chateau Elan, which is a wine resort in Georgia. And while I was there, one of the days that I was there, I had brunch after my massage, and I asked for some tea with my breakfast. Peppermint tea, to be exact. And when that lady brought that tea out, that was the best peppermint tea I had ever had in my life, to the point that I had to take a picture of it because I wanted to go home and order some for myself. Never mind the fact that it's my namesake. Yes, my last name is Smith. And so that just made it even better. Like, babes, we do everything with excellence. And so when I was planning my trip to Portland, I was looking at things to do in the city, and I noticed that they actually had brick and mortars because Portland is where Smith Tea Company started. And so, of course, I wanted to go by a location. Majida and I went by there. They had so many different teas to choose from. And so we ended up both taking home some ginger rising tea because we love ginger. And so we got some of this. Here you can see that they do tea flights, which is very cute. And then I forgot what this was actually. I think this was like some sort of chai tea, and that was very good. By this time, much of the day had passed and it was dinner time. And Majida is Nigerian and she knows that my favorite cuisine is Nigerian food. And so she took me to the best Nigerian restaurant in Portland, according to the locals, which is called Akadi. And we had some amazing food, so much that we ended up actually taking some of it home as well. Sorry, I did not get any pictures or videos. We spent the rest of the evening just chatting, catching up, and watching Netflix. This is the next day, which turned out to be a rainy one. Now, Majida was not driving at this time. She takes public transit, which everybody can do in Portland because it's so widespread. However, I'm a Texas girly through and through. I drive everywhere. And with a fresh silk press to have me out in the elements like this, I was like, babes, hun, what we doing, friend? Why are we doing this? But, you know, I was a trooper. I had my little raincoat on, hun. I did not bring an umbrella with me because this was the day that we were going to go to a basketball game and the stadium does not allow umbrellas. So what we did was we stopped back by Powell's Books again. We wanted to just kill some time before heading over to the stadium for the game. We spent most of the morning and the day inside of the house because when I tell you it was raining cats and dogs. So we went back by Powell's Books. I had an amazing drink that I had never had before. It was an iced apple cider latte with oat milk. Oh my God, that thing was so fire. That's going to be my new go-to fall beverage if I can find some other place to make it. But it was so good. I also had a croissant. And we just sat there talking and chatting about business, about life, about home decor, about dating and relationships, and just everything. You know how you haven't seen your good Judy in a long time, and y'all just want to sit and hoot and holler and cackle and kiki. Well, we did a little bit of that. We couldn't do no hooting and hollering because we was in a bookstore. But we did do a little, kikiing and catching up before it was time for us to leave and go to the game. Now, Portland is a very interesting place. It's very Caucasian, but the handful of Black people I saw in Portland were very interesting. I saw this gentleman in the corner, and I don't know if this was magic. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but it was intriguing to me. It caught my eye. So we wrapped up there at Powell's Books, and then we headed over to the Moda Center for the basketball game. When Majida and I decided that I was going to visit, she told me that she had season tickets to the Trailblazers, and she invited me to choose a game that I wanted to attend, and we would plan my trip around that. And so, of course, I wanted to see the Trailblazers play the Golden State Warriors. I had never seen Steph Curry play in person before. Now, my girl Majida, she's a boss, the big one, not the little one, and she has great hospitality. What she didn't tell me is that we were going to be damn near courtside, okay? We were on the 4th row behind the players' bench. Talk about a way to watch a game. Now that I've sat damn near courtside, I don't want to sit nowhere else. I'm working on how to get me some courtside tickets to the Rockets when I become employed again. Like, do you see how close I am to Dame Fine Ass? Look at that man. Beautiful. I have so many pictures and photos in my phone. My God. Yes. But on a serious note, we had a really good time at the game. I feel like I was the good luck charm for the Trailblazers that day because this was when they were going through a lot of controversy. This was literally the week that their coach got arrested for being caught up in some gambling scandal, and another coach had to step in. It was literally that week. So it was really up in the air. They didn't know how they were going to do, but they won, and it really boosted the morale. It was a great game. The energy was great, and we loved it. After the game, we took the train back to Majida's house and we just rested for the rest of the evening because we knew that the next day we were going to get up very, very early for some shopping. Now, if you don't know this, Nike and Adidas are both headquartered in Portland. And because they're headquartered in Portland, they also have employee stores there where employees of the brands can go and shop for 40 to 50% off of retail, which is an amazing deal. Now, usually the store is reserved for the employees and their families. However, employees are also allowed to give out guest passes to their friends. And so luckily for Majida and I, she has a friend that works for Nike and I have a friend that works for Adidas in the corporate office. And so both of them were kind and gracious enough to give us guest passes. And so we went and did a little bit of shopping. Now, here you'll see the outside of the Adidas store in a second, but I didn't really film very much inside of there for a number of reasons. There were a ton of people in both places. Like when I say overly, like the kids say, you know, that's what the Gen Zers say. They be saying stuff be overly crowded. Baby, it was overly crowded in both of the stores. And I wanted to get in and get out. And so I literally did no recording in either store. I was too focused on getting my stuff. I did buy more than a few things in Adidas. Their discount was better than Nike's. It was 50% off. And then here you see the next day, Majida heard me complaining about the rain in my silk press, so she hired us a car, hun. So we had car service with a driver to drive us around all day, opening our doors, packing our things. He was great. He was very lovely. We really enjoyed him. So after we wrapped up at Adidas, we went to Nike. Let me just tell you something. It's always checks over stripes over here. I am a Nike loyalist. However, the Adidas store, the Adidas employee store was 10 times better than the Nike employee store. The clothing at the Adidas store was just way more fashionable. It was just fly. A lot of the stuff that I saw in the Nike store was extremely basic. Yes, it was current stuff, but some of the stuff I had already had. Some of the stuff that I was looking for, I could not find in store, so I couldn't try it on. It just wasn't the best experience. The employee did tell me that they were swapping out inventory, and so it was a hodgepodge of old things and new things on the floor, and so that's why it felt a little lackluster. They did have the Nike by Skims collection there. However, that didn't excite me. I do not support the Kardashian family. I refuse to give those ladies my black dollars. So I didn't really care very much about that. I only ended up getting a couple of pieces for my man at the time, who is no longer my man. So don't ask me about him. But yeah, I got some things for him and that was really it. After we left the Nike store, we went back home and we took a nap because we had tickets to the opera for later on in the evening. And I had never heard of this particular show. And so I was really excited to go because I had tickets to the Houston opera coming up probably like the following week. And so this ended up being my first and the one in Houston ended up being my second. Here, I got to meet a ton of Majida's friends and people that she works with in the community, as well as one of her friends who works for the Portland Trailblazers. She thanked me for coming and told me that I was their good luck charm and the reason why they won. And so that was really nice. They had an art exhibit set up that was right outside of the opera. You guys know I love art. I'm not a connoisseur yet, like I'm not an expert on art. I just like things and I'm drawn to it. And so I went and saw a few of the art pieces before the show started. And then afterwards, I made my way to the theater where we enjoyed the show. The opera was very interesting. It was a mixture of musical styles. I think there was like some classical, there was some reggae, there was some hip hop. There are a number of different styles that were represented. The opera is called York the Explorer. It was a predominantly Black opera. There were other ethnicities, of course, and races included. And it was very nice. It was very fun and something to do. And then afterward, we had dinner at this Thai place that was nearby, and the food was decent. And that's kind of how we just ended our night. We had dinner there before heading back to Majida's house for the rest of the night because I had the earliest flight known to man that morning. And so I needed to kind of turn it in early. But overall, this was a really great trip. My first trip to Portland definitely will not be my last trip to Portland. I actually cannot wait to go back. This was such a good time. If you have not been to Portland, I highly recommend going. It is definitely a good time. There are a lot of things to do there. So Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this travel vlog, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.